Hello, everyone. I'm just going to get Mel on the line. Hello, Mel. Hey, Mel. How are you? Hey, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Oh, good. We've made it. We're finally here.
We are.
Are you ready?
Yeah, you?
So pumped to tell people about your story. So we're going to get straight into it. And I feel like this is so important about your story. Can we talk about how you came up with the name Four Reasons?
We sure can. Four reasons is for my kids. So I have four kids with different abilities. And so that was it was a no-brainer for me, straight up. It was just that, and that's it. Um, yeah, that's
What
where
about
that
the
comes from. The butterfly. So that's each child has a wing. The colours in the butterfly are all psychological because our niche is psychosocial disability and mental health.
Yep,
So,
I didn't know
so they've
that.
all so they've all got a colour of a wing, and yeah, if you
Wow, look how pretty. But yeah, wow. Thank you.
look, there's always backgrounds in butterflies. I think for me, it's kind of that cocoon story for a
Yeah.
butterfly. I also like tattoos, and I've got lots of butterfly tattoos. Yeah, just being a cocoon, and then when you find your wings, you spread them and fly. And yeah, so the butterfly's always been a back end to my personal story. But yeah, the colours in the butterfly are psychological, and each child has a wing and a colour.
Well, you've just pretty much got us to the next one, which is you've entered into this sector in the NDI sector in mental health. Can you tell us more about what you do as a service and what you provide?
Yeah, sure. So I think I talk to a lot of providers too, and like I say to providers out there, it's all right to provide everything to everybody. But it's just not sustainable. It's not feasible. It's not good for the people. If you're providing all services to everybody, find your niche in that. What is that? What do you do your best work in all those services, right? So that was another no-brainer for us because we are qualified mental health, and it's just what we do, what we thrive in that space. And you know what, to be fair, there's not a lot of people that do that stuff. It can be really quite dangerous, to be fair, when support workers go to participants all the time, and they might take Mark to the park for a walk and have a chat about what he's struggling with and how his day's gone and whatever. But those workers, those staff members have to go home, yeah. And poor old Mark's just stuck there with in his mind, and what you've just spoken about in the last 4 hours or whatever. So it can be quite dangerous too, to not have experience and support people with mental illness or psychosocial disability.
So, like, you didn't just wake up one day and thought, you know what, feeling a bit cute, might open a disability support service. Like, how did it get to this point? Like, because I remember in the past we talked about you being a support worker, and can you tell me a bit about like your apprenticeship and how you got to opening a company?
Yeah, sure. I studied Diploma of Community Services all those years ago, and it was quite funny actually because I was going big. When I finished my studies, I was going big, right? And but I actually never wanted disability. I don't know why. And my children hadn't been diagnosed back then, and I don't know. There was just something about disability, and I didn't want that. I wanted the child protection and all that stuff. And I remember my second year of placement. I went down the AOD path, and I was at Odyssey House.
Yeah.
So cancelled in that space for a bit. and love that too, you know. And then my first job out of study was a support worker in disability, and I thought, all right, so we'll give this one a crack, and it just worked out. It was quite crazy. Like I was, I threw myself in the deep end quite quickly. Because that's what I love to do. So yeah, threw myself in the deep end and thought, oh, what can go wrong here? And I just was in hectic, you know. I'd turn up to chefs and I'd be the only one, and there'd be 4 participants, right? So I had to critically think. I had to, use my initiative. I had to find all these things that I didn't even know that I had,
Yep.
and pull on all that stuff. And it just that's where it started.
Yep. So you did all that, and then, like, as you're working as a support worker, what made you quit going, you know what, I could do this myself. I'm just going to go open an NDIS business. Like, what was the click moment for you?
That was years in the planning. I think
Yep.
I always wanted to. Oh, I've got a bit of an echo, don't I? Can you hear that?
Yeah. Keep
Might be
going,
just
babe.
me. That's right. I when I started support working, I always knew that I wanted a management role, right? So I listened, I learnt, and just quietly done my stuff. And then I found probably maybe 12 months into it, I then found myself a manager. Is it in a residential home in St Albans, and then probably 12 months after that, I was running three
Yep.
residential homes. One was in St Albans, one was in Carlton, and one was in Newport. So yeah, and I just loved it, loved everything about it. And it was very frustrating for me, working for people that just didn't have the same level of care as I did. There was a lot of stuff out there that was not okay. Yeah.
As
So
as you're growing, and I've seen you grow, so which has been the cool thing about the support worker stories. I get to see your biz grow. And one thing I've noticed with you that is you consistently investing in yourself. Tell people how you invest in yourself, how you've grown your business, because from starting from one to the numbers that you've got now, babe, you did hustle. So tell me about the growth, and tell me about the hustle.
sure. So um, I knew a little bit about a little bit, I suppose. And there was one thing that I had fears around, and that's this stuff, right? Public speaking, um, talking to other people, networking, whatever. And I remember, I'll never forget it. I remember the first networking event that I walked into. I spoke to a few people, and I pretty much ran out. And I got in the car and I said, I am never doing that ever again. I can't do that, right? So it was quite funny. I knew I had to do it. I knew I had to do it. So it was just overcoming those fears within
Yeah.
myself, and growing from that and learning, and it just had to be done. So I went back and I kept going back. And yeah, just networking. You can't do this stuff on your own. You need good
Yep.
people. And I've been so fortunate that the connections that I have made, some are purely for business, but there's a lot of my connections that are 100% for life.
Yeah. I enjoyed watching you, to be honest, and watching you grow. And it wasn't something that was handed. It was something that you worked really hard for, and you've networked your way. Can you give any of the guys some tips of how you network your business forward in this space? Because everyone's telling me it's so saturated, I can't get X, Y, and Z. How did you do it? Because you did start from zero.
Yeah, so I just look, to be fair, I've probably only been out there maybe for 6 to 8 months, because I chose to take the bulk of that starting the back end of the business, right? So I wanted to get all that right before I made connections and relationships. But one of the first things I done was I planned my own expo in the middle of last year. So that was planned and ran successfully in the middle of last year. I had there was 16 tables, and I just hired the community hall in Hoppers Crossing, and just done some advertising, took donuts to people and said, come, oh, how much is it? It's nothing. Just come, So yeah, it's all of that stuff, I think. But in as well, it's I do suggest that providers out there that are potentially struggling, think about what your niche may be, and lead with that, because people don't care if you're looking for participants, right? It's not a cafe, yeah? And I think that's what people need to understand. This is people and lives. And actually, we as providers and workers really need to feel blessed that we are trusted by these people, some participants are non-verbal, say, right? The family are trusting you with their life to take them out. I don't know how people can't feel something in that,
Yeah. And because of your niche market, that means you have to have niche support workers. What do you put in place to get your niche support workers and make sure they're consistently growing with you and your business to fit into what you serve?
So obviously with us, it's mental health. So whether that's qualified in mental health or mental health first aid, that's always my recommendation. Mental health first aid. It's if you don't have any other qualifications in mental health, that's the quickest and most in depth thing that you're going to get. So it's always got to be that. And I do a lot of training myself with people, to make sure that they're right, they understand each participant, their needs. Yeah.
All right, you ready for this one? As a support worker, what was the best win you've seen?
Ooh. In business or out?
Oh,
Or just whatever?
as a support worker within your business or within a support worker itself, what is the best win that a participant that you serve has got from in your pretty much around you?
I think that always will be this one person, and hopefully there's not many. Just a trigger warning if needed. I'll keep it quite brief and disclosive. But anyhow, so she's quite complex, and come to me a little while back. And obviously it's no secret that with mental illness and psychosocial disability, with that most people are, can be at most times suicidal or think about harming themselves. So this participant was self-harming twice weekly. And actually I was just in a care team meeting today, and we were saying how we actually can't remember the last time she self-harmed or went to hospital. So the rewards are it's just ridiculous. It's, what, I've got so many of those stories that I could tell. It's just, I've helped furnish a person's home, that was in an ILO model that was just, they're not a participant of mine. But I come across this participant and it's just be kind and do what you've got to do. And there was nothing in that home, and I made sure there was, and I walked away happy.
Yeah, it's that your willingness to serve and wanting to, want people to be as successful as possible. I get it. Absolutely. So my next one for you with your business and how it's going in this sector, what does the future hold for you guys? What are you going to bring?
Big things.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's quite funny, isn't it? Because my first business goal was small, and it was to get 10 participants to have a monthly barbecue in the park. That hasn't happened yet, but we are over our 10 participants over here. I don't have numbers. I just want to change as many lives as possible. But with that said, I never want to grow too big where I don't know. Yeah. And I
Yep.
think that's the problem too. And I've seen it of late. And it's really sad that, I don't know, there's a lot of providers and businesses, doing a lot of great things and, you know, giving a lot of talks and stuff. But some of them are just like, I don't know, they're just weed your backyard, that's, I never want to get to that where I just don't know what's happening in the business or to the
What do you
people.
think? And then I look, when I talk to people, the most important thing is about how involved we are in people's lives and how the experience that we give them, that feeling that we give them, that, that safety feeling that we do know the person that we're going to call is the person we can call and rely on when things get a little bit tough, or if I need a little bit more support. I get where you're coming from with that. Now, as time has progressed and you have grown, let's be quite clear, you have grown quite a lot. How do you, like, when you're looking for support workers and you're interviewing them, what are some of the key things that you look out for, whether it be qualifications or personality? What is it that gets you that really, like, you really want to hire this person?
The first thing is they need to be a good person. Yeah. So, like I say to people, you can train anyone in anything. Yeah. That's easy done. You can't train a good human to be a good human. You can't make someone be kind. You can't make them have empathy, right? So that's first and foremost on the radar. How they conduct themselves. Are they kind? Are they tolerant? Are they, all these human behaviors? They need to be there first. That needs to be the solid foundation, and the rest can be built on.
And as you're growing your pool, do you get to, like, does your pool grow up with you? Like, is there opportunities in your company that you've got for people to grow with you
There will
and get
always
to?
be opportunity. There will always be opportunities here. I've coming into business. I'm also filling in the gaps, right? And I know, I would have just been happy if someone had have, one of the old organisations had have made me an operations manager or whatever. I would have been happy. It didn't happen. So I know too, from a support worker's stance, why wouldn't they want to upskill and be something else? And like, as a business owner and a leader, what would give me, there would be nothing that would give me any more joy than someone saying to me, I want to be you. Wow.
Yep.
Let me show you how you
Yep.
can be me, and we're going to do this together. And when you're, just please don't leave me. Like, when you build your own little baby, don't forget me over here. Come and say hello, like, but
Yeah.
yeah, there'll always be, I will always make spaces for people, yeah, because I don't think there's enough of that.
And by doing this, you have invested quite heavily into yourself. Like, yeah, like you have. I've seen you out and about, and this is probably why we've connected. Is because I have seen you. Besides networking, you have gone to courses. You have done all these things to expand your horizon, and it hasn't always been disability related. It could have been other little areas related. What advice would you give support workers or anyone looking to own their own business, whether it be an independent or a business? What advice would you give them when it comes to investing in themselves?
They have to, it's a non-negotiable, right? It's an absolute non-negotiable. People might say, oh, I don't have the money or it's too expensive. It's not. Like, you just find it. Yeah. I don't
Yep.
care if I don't have a loaf of bread. Like, you know the you just need to back yourself every step of the way, and that means financially. I wouldn't even be able to tell you how much financially I've put into myself. Like, I've just made it happen, because I just don't think, there's more greater dividends than that.
How do you keep yourself afloat? Because you're quite passionate and you really like it shows when you speak and the people that we serve that what you talk about. How do you keep that passion without burning out? Because it is at times it can be quite heavy owning businesses and it can be quite heavy with the people that we support. How do you keep your fire alight still?
Because I love it so much. So, and let me tell you, I'm sure the people would understand to have a niche in psychosocial mental illness. It's a lot, right? It's a heavy space. It's a lot.
Yep.
I can tell you a little bit of my movements tomorrow. However, come 9 o'clock, it's probably going to change. And I'm going to be shifting people all over the place, right? But that's just how it is. It's a heavy space. I've I've learnt how to do this myself, and I think to be in my shoes, you would hope that you would have learnt to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just, all the self care needs to be there. A lot of people don't know my life. That I weight train, that I box. I'm an amateur boxer. Like a lot of people don't know that behind the scenes. So I invest heavily in a lot of stuff with me, and that has to stay. And that's not only for me, that's for the people that I employ as well. Like I'm I'm huge on them. They will never burn out because I will make sure they don't burn out, right? So um, they might have issues with participants. That's not a you issue. Yeah, that's a me one, and you're going to pass it on, right? Because I never ever will have them burn out.
Yeah, and it is difficult. Like it's so easy to burn out in such a environment as
If
such.
you're not
So
looking after yourself, yeah.
yeah, and it's really hard to talk about balance because I know in life we go through seasons where we have to hustle really hard to get where we want. And I know for me with the support worker store, it meant consistently showing up, even when I didn't like it, even
And
when
I
I didn't
think
love it.
as well, I remember back when I was a support worker and I was traveling 40 minutes to work, so I was working crazy, crazy staff hours, and that was like for probably a 15-month period. I was doing like 3 sleepovers a week, split shifts all over the place. So, like I tell people now, just say you're doing sleepovers, right? I got into that routine where I knew that after a sleepover, I'd get home at 8 a.m. No one called me before 10 a.m. I made nothing before 10 a.m. and I would sleep from 8 till 10, and that would just be enough to re-energize me and get me going again. And that's one thing on top of the list that I will always suggest to people.
With what's coming up in this sector, I think I'm right. I can see that you're attending a couple of expos coming up, and can you give us some of the names of the expos that you'll be at? And if people want to say hi to you, your name is Mel. Like, what expos is next?
Um, I think I'm obviously in the west of Melbourne. However, I am sponsoring one expo that Jackie Grant has coming up in March. That one I believe is in Doncaster. Um, I will be there.
Yep.
I will be in a lot in the west of Melbourne, obviously. I've made it. I'm gonna get around more this year. What else is coming up? Isn't it funny? I just signed up to another two today, and I can't even remember. Um, there's one in Caroline Springs, I believe. I'll be there. I don't know. Just send me a message, and I'm always here. Um, I've got a coffee catch up on Monday. I'm always having them, like coffee and cake. I'll love you forever, right? So, um, if you wanna, even if I can assist business wise or whatever it is, I'm happy to tell you some tips and tricks.
So to contact you, is it just sliding into your DMs, or TikTok, Facebook?
Yeah.
How is the best way to contact you?
All of the above. I'm on LinkedIn. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. Haven't done it. I'm on TikTok, but it's not. really a me thing right now. I've got a beautiful daughter that does all my content, and she does a beautiful job. So obviously that's not a strong point of mine, all that fluff stuff. But yeah, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn are the big ones for me. We have a website, and that obviously is Four Reasons, disabilityservices.com.au. You can even just send a send a hello on the referral form there, whatever. Get the email address from there. Feel free to take my phone number and give me a call. Whatever works.
You mentioned like two really important things. I don't know about you, but I have been linking in hard lately, and it has been paying so many dividends. I'm not quite sure if you feel the same way, Mel. I find it's easier with LinkedIn to get connected with people because I'm not talking to the content creator of that business or a VA. I'm talking exactly to the person that owns it, support workers that are around it. Have you found the same, or yep?
Yeah,
Do you slide into people?
LinkedIn's good for LinkedIn's good for business. I find that I've found that a lot of people approach me. It's really funny. It's humbling. And they'll say, "Oh, you're the butterfly," and I'm like, "Oh my god, yes, I am." So LinkedIn's good for business. Instagram's good too. I don't do Facebook a lot. Like I am on some of the Facebook groups and stuff. However, it's quite dangerous on there. You know, there's advice and stuff being said all over the place that's really incorrect. But there's a lot of people on there that just need to be right. So that's really not a space for me.
Yep.
So
I cringe and I get scared. That's why I like to. I think that's another thing, isn't it? About when you develop your networks, you start to develop people that you want to sit at the table with, and you want to have these discussions because you know that by having these discussions and sitting with these people at this table, that you're upskilling yourself, but also you're bringing them along for the ride, and you guys have similar values, and you're able to bounce off. I found that with you. Yeah, I've
yeah,
definitely found that being
it
able to
is
bounce off it. We're
100%. Yeah.
not even in
And I think
a real sense.
sometimes expos and ready set connects and stuff, they're good. But you always need, there's nothing better than a one-on-one. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's nothing better than a one-on-one.
and you did take me by surprise. You contacted me. I went back and had a look, and I was like, "Oh, you are very good with your slides and your DMs."
Yeah, I just pretend I'm not. Like you wouldn't know that by my face when you first talk to me, but my brain's going.
I also that brings me to another point. On your social media, you're very present. Like you're very on brand. You turn up, and by turning up and being on your brand, and you're showing the people that you serve on your things. Have you noticed the big difference in the way that you're able to connect with people and be relatable because they can see what you're doing?
Yeah, 100%. And for me, it's about like I don't know, you can see photos and whatever else, but people need to see you. Like, who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you? What do you do? Like, there's nothing more that speaks of what a person is than showing up and showing them who you are and whatever else. Otherwise, who are they talking to? And
Yep.
I think that happens a lot. Like, I never want to do away in that space either. Like, there's a lot of directors and whatever, you never see them. You never hear of them. You never see them because they're never present. They don't have that time. And I never want to be one of them. I always want to have that time. And when we run that barbecue, I'm coming to have a sausage and a Coke. And I'm probably going to turn up in my active wear because that's me. And I want to know about you.
Now, as we're going along, Mel, I can see that we have got some questions. I've got a question on my screen that says, someone has told me the NDIS is going to remove psychosocial from Facebook. Have you heard anything about any changes in the NDIS space when it comes to this? Because
No, I don't know about psychosocial on Facebook. Oh, the comment come from Facebook. Yeah, I think I always say to people like, go. don't listen to that stuff.
Yep.
Everyone's got an opinion. Is it right? Probably not. And always, you know, when people do give an opinion, ask where they got it from. So it needs to be source related. You know, I don't take anything on unless it's come from the NDIS themselves, NDIA, or say the department. That is the only stuff that I receive updates through that stuff, you know, through those people all the time. I wouldn't listen to that. You know,
Yep.
it's a bit of a rocky space at the moment because actually no one knows. And what's being said, a lot of it's changing. It's changing day by day. So you can't really rely on that. Will they get rid of psychosocial? I don't think so. It's a disability, right? So your psychosocial is different to mental illness. It's a disability. Will people with psychosocial disability be impacted? I think they will, just because of the resistance here with foundational supports. And it's the hospital's problem. And it's, you know, your mental clinician's problem, mental health clinician, and it's them. They're doing a lot of that pushback. And if that keeps happening, they will, unfortunately, people with psychosocial disability will feel something in that. But I definitely, you know, don't believe what you hear on Facebook. Please, no.
So with the conversation that we have, and you're a go-getter. Do you have a 2025 word of the year, like for you and your company?
No, I haven't really thought about that. Word of the
Field?
year, huh?
Said I've so left of field.
Yeah, that's okay. I love left of field. Word of the year. Let's get it. All right, let's get it. Yep.
All right.
That's how easy
Well,
we are here.
let's get it done. Now, what sort of
Mm.
is that? What sort of things do support workers do with participants from psychosocial mental health realm? So, what do you guys do with your participants out and about?
Whatever they need. And with that, it's whatever their goals, their NDIS goals are, we work toward them. So, yeah, whatever their goals are, we make sure that we are working towards them and
Yeah.
they achieve their goals.
And are you a registered provider?
Yes, we are.
Are you, and do you enjoy, like, when it comes to the audit process, is it time consuming? Like, how do you even get prepared for it? Because I do get a lot of people slide into the DMs going, oh, audit's coming, I'm a bit nervous, what should I do? Do you have any recommendations, any steps as a business owner yourself, what you would do, or, you know, advice to people out there, when it comes to audits?
When it comes to reoccurring audits, just stay compliant, people. That's it. Stay compliant. Make sure everything's always okay. So then you're not running around like a chook with no head before audit time, and you can just sit back and breathe and relax because it'll all be all right because it was last time. So I think that's where a lot of people probably get it a little bit wrong too. You know, it's they just let things flop and it happens like it's busy, you know.
Yep.
But you really need to make sure it doesn't flop,
Yep.
and just always remain compliant. That's really not hard to do, and for
Yep.
people and their lives it
Yep.
actually needs to happen more.
Well, I think I've got most of it. I'm just going to check some more questions just in case. If anyone's got some questions, jump on in while we've got Mel here. I've got one from Sam. It's all about the people and what people. It's all about the people and what people need, which is 110%. What should a participant expect when signing for 4 reasons for core support? How long is the turnaround for one-to-one shifts, etc.? That's a really good question. So,
Um, okay, so for core supports, we have, I'll mention that as well. So in our intake, one of the questions you'll be asked is, what is your 4 reasons? We love that over here. So that's the first goal. That's the first goal. and we just work towards that. Again, it's whatever you need to be supported with. We will assist as long as it aligns with your NDIS goals.
I love what you said about how when you do your intake, you ask the actual 4 reasons, making it really personalized from the get-go. That's beautiful, Mel. And you've got a question. What's the name for 4 reasons stand for, Mel?
Chris, you're a bit late to the party, mate. We've already discussed this, but thank you. Let's do it again. It's for my kids. I have 4 beautiful kids. They are 11. I have a boy 11, a boy 16, a girl 18, and a girl 28. They all have different abilities, and we all do, and that's why we're here. Yeah.
No,
It's
I'll be honest with you, because when I first met you, you're like 4 reasons. I went straight to butterfly, and you're like, bang. So yeah, it is like, and especially when you're telling me before about what the significance of a butterfly is, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. So there's quite a lot of depth to it.
yeah, it was thought about. It's not just a logo.
Yeah.
It's not just a logo, and yeah, it's more than a logo. It's the backbone, just like my kids are.
Just shows how personal your services are. Has anyone got any other real pressing questions? Well, I've got you all here. That's about it. Mel, it has been so fantastic to do this live with you, and if you're from Melbourne, guys, if you're looking for support, or if you're a support worker looking out there to engage with a provider that is quite hands-on, Mel's your girl. With this link here, what I will do is I will put it in for you guys so you can see 4 reasons. Tap in, follow her on Facebook. She's on LinkedIn. She is absolutely everywhere. Oh, you do have one. Hold on. Sign up for 4 reasons. How long could you expect? Well, when you sign up for 4 reasons, how long can you expect support? So I'm guessing, how long does it take until support comes in? Like what's the turnaround?
We don't have any wait time here, so it just depends. So you'll get me on your first meet. So it just depends. So we'll obviously meet and discuss your needs, and so from then it can be a couple of days to a week. Yeah,
Yep.
just depending on what you need. But once
Perfect.
discussions start, we don't have capacity over. We are always going to have availability, and that just brings me to one more thing. I'm not here solely for me either. I have a lot of beautiful people that are in my networking community that I connect with. I know a lot of other great providers. So you don't just have to be, in the west of Melbourne. I have a lot of people everywhere. And if we can't support you in the way you need, we could definitely give you some others.
And exactly what it's meant to be, isn't it? It's that networking. If I can't do it, I can definitely network you with somebody that can. And that's that sharing and, networking.
Just
Fantastic.
knowing what you can do and what you can't do.
Yep, and be very clear. And it's okay to be upfront, because people would rather you be upfront whether you are the service for them or not. I get it. Bloody brilliant. Thank you so much, Mel.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite.
It is. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'll put this up shortly.
For jumping on.
Have a lovely night, Mel.
Have a beautiful night. Thank you, guys. Thanks. Bye.